Ready to check the valve clearances and put a timing set on? Stay tuned. So the first thing we need to do is find our top dead center, our true top dead center. So we've taken our number one piston, we've put some tape around the ring lands, and we're going to install it into the block and torque it down so that we can check and find our top dead center. We are going to put a little light assembly lube on all the bearings. We're not going to go into full assembly lubing, but just a light film on there so that we can turn the crank without damaging any of the bearings. So let me get everything set up and then we'll show you how that goes. So we've got our piston installed. We're just going to snug down the cap bolts on the rod. We don't have to go all the way to torque. We're just going to get it good and snug, since this is just to check a clearance and find our top dead center. We don't want to crank it down, and we certainly don't have to go all the way to the torque specs on it. So we'll just snug it down. Okay, now we'll turn the block back over and we'll put our stop on. So we're trying to find our top dead center. We've put this tape on to protect the cylinder, but it's interfering with our stop, so we're going to cut it out around so that it doesn't interfere with our reading on that. So let's get a knife and we'll cut that out before we can check it. Okay, so now we found our top dead center on cylinder number one, and what top dead center means is actually the point at which the piston stops traveling up and starts traveling back down. That's the highest most point in the stroke of the piston. So we put our stop in, we just snug down the bolts. This center is actually the gauge that helps us measure and adjust our top dead center. So we got everything up to where we adjusted this to the point that we got the piston up and it locks into place there. It shows us where it is, and then we lock down that center bolt. So now we have our top dead center, so we can start putting our timing set on. I did want to show you what that is. Sometimes you'll see it in manuals shown as TDC, but that means top dead center on cylinder number one is always where that's measured. Okay, so the first part of the timing set that we're going to want to install is our crank gear. Now there are three different cuts for the retaining pins. They're for different if you want to advance, retard, or if you want to set it at factory, you have these different options. You need to follow the Cloy's instructions on how you're going to actually want to do it. We're actually going to be installing ours with the circle pointed towards the middle, which gives us an advanced position. So we're going to slide it on first and then take our tool and tap it on. Okay, so we've got our crankshaft gear installed now. I didn't point this out a minute ago. When you do install these, you do, like in every step, want to put a little assembly lube on the snout of the crank before you put the gear on to make it go on easier so it doesn't bind up. And it should sit completely flush against the base of the snout. We've got it on. Now we can get the rest of our timing set and show you how the Cloy's Hexa Adjust works.